I was able to respond.
Mm.
So even though I was angry, I got on the phone with him and I expressed that in no uncertain terms. No, I'm like, this is not okay. And I am mad. But I wasn't blasting him.
100%.
I wasn't so over emotional that I lost my shit. But I'm also not ignoring it, going, oh, but it's all love and light. Nah, dude. Irresponsible with my dog, and then irresponsible with my friend's dog, whom I'm responsible for.
Welcome to Building Conscience with Jaguar and Jay. On today's episode, we get into what it means to tap into your authenticity, highest vibration, what it means to not suppress yourself, what it means to feel all the things so you can live into your highest potential. You're not going to miss this. Stay tuned. My fucking guy. How are you, bro?
Angry.
Let's fucking go. Me too, man. I'm angry too.
All right.
What are we angry
So we're
about?
talking about anger today.
What are we angry about? Let's talk about this.
I am supremely pissed at my roommate right now. So as you know, I have a dog and I regularly take care of a really good friend's dog as well. Like we trade off. And so sometimes my dog will be at her apartment. Sometimes her dog will be at my house. And today was a day where her dog's at my house. I was at the office all day. It was a late day. I usually leave at 4, but I didn't leave until 5. And I had a grocery run. And I got home and parked and I hear barking in my backyard. And I see the dogs running at the fence and they're in my backyard. So I called my roommate and I said, what time did you leave today? 7 a.m. It's like, you think you forgot something? He was like, what? Did you let the dogs out this morning? And he just goes, shit. Yeah, not okay.
Yeah.
And I was like, I told him that I appreciate how he lets them out and usually brings them back in. But that's a no, that is a not okay. You cannot forget them outside. Yes, they're dogs and they thank God that they are okay. But all I have is chain link fencing around that Ollie has been able to jump before. I've put stuff up in the areas that he's jumped before. And so like he doesn't usually, but it's not the strongest of fences. And both are very strong dogs. So they could have broken out. And Clancy, my friend's dog, doesn't have a collar with a tag with a number on it, which I think I'm going to either buy for my friend as a gift to him or just be like, hey, you need to, because that just scared the shit out of me. Because like, of course, I'm reminding myself and like staying in this, like, everything is okay. They are okay. They're still here. They're healthy. They didn't get out, thankfully. So like, I'm actually mad about the irresponsibility, and I'm mad about the, like, what could have happened. And like those like scary things that go on in my head of fuck. And like, I mentioned it to a friend, like as I was here, because I was just still kind of processing, and I told her what, and she has a dog as well. She was like, oh, I would be so pissed. I was like, I am. I'm just in command of my emotions, so I'm not screaming right now. But like, I'm pissed. And like my roommate and we had already like called it done. And so he already has a plan to be moving out. And I love my roommate. I do. We've actually talked a lot more recently since determining that he's going to move out than we had over the last couple of months. But I told her that like, had we not already hit that point, this would have been the final straw. Like, fuck no, that is absolutely not okay. So I've only been home for like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And I've just been sitting here in this
Yeah.
kind of rage right now.
Yeah.
And before I was actually in command of my emotions, and that call with my roommate would have been all just venom and being pissed and littling him and insulting him, I'm sure. So I'm very grateful for the work that I've done so that I can still do things in a calm way, but recognize that no, I'm pissed. And like, I very much feel rightfully so, because had it started storming, dogs would have been out there. They got a little bit of coverage around the gables around the house, but like there's nothing like solid for them to just be under. So they would have gotten soaked, could have gotten sick. If it had been thundering and lightning, could have gotten scared and then like run away. So yeah, a little angry about that. So what's got you mad?
Yeah, man. I just processing repressed anger. There's this, I love me a good course, and it's been a while since I did one, but there's this guy, Adeyemi something, he talks about the dark divine masculine. And it's a topic that you don't really hear a lot. You hear a lot about the dark divine feminine. And I remember last year sometime, I see all this stuff about the dark divine feminine. I understand it. I appreciate it. Right. But what about the dark divine masculine? Like, what's an example of a dark divine masculine being? Right? Not dark meaning bad, but dark meaning, the shadow side, right? Understanding what that is because there's so much power in that, especially when we integrate it with our light. Anyways, there's this guy who has a German father, African mother, or sorry, am I getting this right? Anyways, there's this guy who's got a really interesting past. Comes from a military home. His father's in the military. Mother was had like a successful business doing something, and he, you know, his brothers and sisters, I think, were like engineers. They took like a more traditional, you know, successful, safe route. Whereas he has done like 40 to 50 ayahuasca ceremonies, blah, blah, blah. And he's worked with David Data, who came out with that book, Way of the Superior Man. He's trained with him. And he's got his own thing now. And it's not often where I get pulled towards something, but it's like a 21-day course. It was like $11. You sign up, right? And it doubles every single day. I think it's at 22 or 33 or 22 or 44 right now. I just thought about you for it, but I guess I'm telling you now. So I signed up for it and see what it's about. They asked for volunteers. It's 160, 180 men on there, right? I was chosen. I was the second person chosen because they said raise your hand, but everybody had their raise hand. So I was like, hey, I'll go. So I unmuted myself, said, hey, I'll go. And basically he's drop into your bodies. Tell me what your truth is. What's your truth? And the first thing I said, he was just like, nah, come on, man, that's bullshit, man. You're not. You're in your head. You're performing. That's not what's your actual truth. Drop into it. And it got to a point to where I spoke my truth. It had to do with the breakup. It had to do with just certain patterns in my life that I haven't fully overcame yet, or that I'm currently working through. Man, tears started dropping, and he had a female on a call because the idea was like his whole thing is like piercing life, being able to pierce life, piercing a woman with your energy, right? With your masculine focus, where your energy is going all in one direction. It's one clear signal you're sending out to the universe, and I'm just like, yeah, fuck yeah. So anyways, when I was doing this example, at first the audience wasn't really resonating with what I was saying. Neither was the woman. When the tears started flowing and I felt my most broken was when everybody could resonate to what I was saying. They felt magnetized to what I was saying. And he's like, bro, that's the frequency right there. That's the authentic frequency you want to speak from and live in all the time. Because he brought up a good point. This is nothing new, but he was the highest frequency isn't love, it's authenticity. I think you've said that before on here. For some reason today it's stuck. It's like, dude, even navigating through a breakup and being all broken over love and me realizing there's something higher that can, I don't want to say compensate that, but that can override this, whatever I'm dealing with on that side, which is my authentic side. So the side me wants to say, fuck that, fuck her, fuck this side that just wants to be angry like that, just that suppressed anger. Right. Of course, that's not how I actually feel. Of course, I have love and respect for this person, but it's being able to say that and express that and to express what I'm unhappy about, what I'm discontent about, speaking it, not living there, but speaking it so that I can then move forward from there. And so this has been a beautiful, I think, healing moment just in like being able to speak into and start to tap into like my dark divine masculine being because he had this picture. It was like an iceberg. And it's like people have relationship issues, they have issues in business, they have issues in whatever, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. What's happening is that they aren't accessing what's already within them, which is their dark divine masculine side because of whatever society says this, and we wear these masks. So his whole thing is about removing the masks, because once you remove the mask, you can tap into your authenticity. So my mask, I did this. He had this whole thing on ChatGPT. My mask is that I'm a performer and like got to get it right type person, performing and getting it right or whatever, depending what the scenario is. By me dropping my performer mask, but by me dropping the want and need to impress people, like because I also too that comes from sales as well, not just from like a group. It comes from me being in sales, and he's like, and he, by the way, this guy had a sales career, so he doesn't do that anymore. But he became a very successful salesperson, walking the spiritual path, and now he does what he does now. So for you and I, bro, potentially a really good model for someone. He looks to be like around our age, to be honest, but he just started his spiritual journey really early. His mother and or father started getting him books at a very young age. So he looks to be about around our age, but he's just been doing it for maybe a few decades longer, which adds up. So anyways, so I'm angry, but I'm also happy because I know this is the start of me addressing things that I haven't addressed yet, those patterns that I know have been there that I get to now address. And so basically where I failed in dating, because I'm at a point now where I attract a certain caliber woman, normally very attractive, very well-rounded, very successful, right? If I was dating at the level I was dating at a few years ago, wouldn't be an issue. But at that level, the standards of these women rise and the levels of options and whatever. Like, I'm not saying this is a good thing, but my point is that there's less room for error. How can I say this? I just want to have my shit together. the areas that aren't, I just want to have it together, right? And listen, I know that's one of the masks, right? We walk around acting like we got it all together when we fucking don't. Maybe some people do it more than others, but for the most of us, we don't have it together. And so that's part of my mask is, yo, stop pretending like I have it all together. I don't. Being able to speak on the parts that aren't together, be real about that shit, because that's fucking magnetizing, and like that's what people respect. And learning how to anchor myself so that a woman or a business partner or whatever, they can trust my leadership because I'm anchored in something. I'm not just going off of their reaction. So this is the work that I've been needing for a very long time, and I'm at a space to where I can see it.
Well, that's where you dive into the authenticity. That aspect of it is that if you're feeling something and you're not addressing it, you're not talking about it, you're not living authentically in that area. You're putting on that mask because you don't want that to be seen because you
Mhm.
have a judgment around it. And so whether that's a judgment that your parents instilled in
Yeah.
you or society built instilled in you, whatever it is, it's still there. And if you're not feeling it, you're not letting yourself access it, then that's not being authentic.
100%.
I thought of an example from my life as you were talking about that anger around this last relationship, and not that you don't have love for her in any way, but there's still that anger. The way that I see it and the way that I understand it is that they're not mutually exclusive. It's not if I have love, I don't have any anger, or
Mhm.
if I have love, then I don't have any, or if I have anger, I don't have any love, but that the two can coexist,
Mm.
especially since they are basically the two ends of that same pole. They are there together.
Mm.
And so I think of this example of the last Sacred Sons event that I went to. Going into it, I did not think that I had anything to process. I was there to serve. I was there to just be in that lowest level of leadership. And I was open to process if something came up, but I just didn't really think I did.
Yeah.
Through the Sacred Sons events, through these things and through everything else that I do, like I regularly process myself, or I have people to go to help me process when I can't do
Mm.
it myself. But then something around my ex-wife came up, and what hit me, when I dug into it, what hit me is that there was so much anger that I had never expressed.
Mm.
Because at the beginning, I chose, I'm not going to hate my ex-wife.
Mm.
I'm going to choose love,
Mhm.
which
Yeah.
is good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've made it there, but the way I did it was to simply suppress the anger, to
Mm.
ignore it, to pretend like it wasn't there. And so, but it's still there. It's still
It's there.
rising up. It's still there. And
100%.
then I'm realizing since the Sacred Sons event that showed up in my next relationship.
Mm.
Little things would happen, and then I would fly off. I'd fly off at the hinges,
Mm.
and because I hadn't been dealing with that anger at someone else. So I
Mm.
then let it out at the next person. And
That's
that's not fair to her. It's
that's
not fair
real.
to me because I hadn't been living authentically through that whole experience.
Mm.
But when I was able to finally express that anger in this Sacred Sons event, and I love how I got to do it because after a sacred combat, and I got the physical anger out, and I started tapping into it. I was then able later on, and during a different process, I sat with somebody whose eyes reminded me of my ex-wife. So I was able to really just hone in on and think about her and just fully express. And I was angry and I was very emotional as I spoke all of these things, where I was just like, I am upset that about this and that, like things about where I felt disregarded, where I had expressed things that I wanted that I felt would set us up for a better life that she didn't want to do for this reason, for that reason. And I let it all out. And I took a big breath and I felt all of it melting away.
Mm.
And then I was able to go into ownership
Mhm.
because I've been doing all of this work to really see where was my part in things falling apart? What was
Yeah,
I
for sure.
responsible for?
For sure.
And then I was able to go into true ownership. And I was just in and yeah, this is true. And my first word of that ownership was, and I'm sorry, I was a bad husband.
Mm.
I
Ooh,
didn't show up like this. I
that's
didn't
real.
handle things very well like this. I got to just apologize
That's real.
after letting out all of this. And so it was this moment of true authenticity around this of, yes, there's so much anger. And even though I am not in love with her, I
Mm.
have no intention and no desire to ever be back with her. I still have love for her, but it needed to coexist so that it could then finally just bloom into, all right, no more anger.
That's real.
There's just love for another human, that we had a piece of life together.
Yeah,
And now there's that ability to move on. And that's what I've finally seen is like that power of authenticity,
100%.
that like you got to love yourself enough
Yeah.
to go through everything and to experience all of it, the full
Mm.
spectrum.
Mm. That's so real, man. Um, I like to about experiencing the full spectrum, going through all of it, feeling those dark emotions, those in between emotions, those light emotions, and not just putting this mask. Like a lot of people put on this mask of like just like I'm light, I'm loving light, right? I do it. A lot of people do it, but like and society, I feel like to some extent may encourage us to do it, but there's so much going on underneath. Like we can't suppress, we cannot continue to suppress ourselves.
Man, that is what you just spoke on. People just going, I'm just love and light is
Mm.
something that I find to be the most infuriating about people in the spiritual world
Yeah, yeah,
who are like trying to detach themselves from what like so many people refer to as the 3D. And like, we're all here. We all chose to be here.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You're
That's
not
real.
either experiencing things spiritually or either or spirit or experiencing them in the 3D.
That's funny.
It's not either or. It's a both.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Everyone is doing both, whether you're aware of it or not. If you're stuck in the 3D and you haven't woken up yet, you're still having a spiritual experience.
100%.
And if you are in a spiritual experience and trying to escape the 3D, you still live on the fucking planet. You're still here. Sorry, dogs. My bad. Sorry. Just scared the shit out of me. Sorry about that. Like, you're still here. You're still part of all of this, but you can try and take no responsibility
That
and
is
check
fucking
out
funny.
and then go, oh, yeah, I'm just love and light. And there's some people that I hear saying that truly take responsibility
Yeah, yeah,
and who
yeah.
truly have done the work that they've gotten to this point of, yeah, I see it, I feel it, I experience it, but
Mhm,
no, I choose this. I choose to be in this. Kevin's a great example of one of those people.
mhm.
He's done a lot of work to where now he can fully feel all of his emotions
100%.
and then choose the one that's appropriate in the moment so that he can be living in that greatest expression.
Yeah,
It's one of the biggest things I respect about him
yeah.
and one of the things that I've really been like driving towards
Mhm.
and which is what I'm talking about when I said earlier that I'm really glad about the work that I've done. So I was able to react in a different way.
Yeah.
I was able to choose how I or respond, not react. I was able to respond.
Mm,
So even though I was angry, I got on the phone with him and I expressed that in
mhm,
no uncertain terms. No, I'm like, this is not okay.
mm,
And I am mad. But I
mhm.
wasn't blasting him. I
100%.
wasn't so over emotional that I lost my shit. But I'm also not ignoring it, going, oh, but it's all love and light. Nah, dude. Irresponsible with my
Yeah,
dog,
yeah,
and then irresponsible with my friend's dog, whom I'm responsible for.
yeah. I wanna switch gears, just a little bit because I wanna touch on something, right? Whether it's, like, going through a breakup. Like, I have a friend right now going through I have 2 friends. I know of 2 people going through a divorce. The second one is escaping me, but I was thinking about this morning, right? Obviously, I went through a breakup about, a month and a half ago. I mean, breakups and just things where there's a lot of intense emotion and there's a big shift, right? And there's a loss, there's a change. I think what I'm realizing and I want to bring more awareness to is the importance of learning how to recalibrate our nervous systems, right? So we all, right? So we have these chakras, we have all these meridians, we have our physical, mental, spiritual, emotional bodies. We have a whole system. We have a nervous system of nerves all connecting, right? Storing memory, storing energy, storing habits, ways of being, ways of doing things. When you go through a shift, especially where it's a loss or it's just a big change, or maybe you move or you've changed whatever it is, our nervous system is used to responding in a certain way. And when that stimulus is no longer there, or that thing that used to be a part of the habitual pattern is no longer there, the body can respond and react to that. It can tighten up, it can become sad, whatever it is. And as a society, we have to get good at learning how to re-regulate our nervous system. And so
Mhm.
like we learned in creator, something that's super helpful is the mirror work. So right as I'm navigating and stepping into a new phase of my life, as I'm
Just to
going,
clarify on that energy and the regulation bit,
yeah,
because you threw out chakras and meridians, I want to simply clarify for everybody listening
mm,
who may not really understand it or may be in this like chakras, that's some belief system that like doesn't apply. I do respect how Kevin again will talk about the chakras as just energy centers because
mhm,
truly that's what they are. They are energy centers within and without of our body of where energy flows and goes. It is understood by many people within that spiritual context, but like truly within our bodies, there are these 7 major energy centers within our body where all energy flows through. And we're talking electricity, we're talking blood, all of this energy,
yeah,
not just this, like, not just a woo woo idea of something, but the literal and physical. And so when it comes to regulation, when things are stuck, You talk about, oh, my root chakra is stuck. There's a
Mhm.
sense of instability within your survival aspects and things around that area, and that needs to be addressed. You go to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you have to feel safe and secure before you can go and do anything else. And the chakra system works that same way. This energy system works that same way. And so you need to identify
Mm.
where this blockage is, where this interruption is, so that it can be addressed and allow energy to flow again in a good way.
Yeah, and the beautiful thing about the mirror work too is if you just Google mirror work, there's so many different ways to do it. How I do it is I like to look in the mirror. I look at my left eye, look at the black part of my eye. I look at the whites of my eyes. I look around my eyes. I do my other eye, look at my cheeks, my forehead, right? And I take my time and I go really slow with it. And as you're doing this just staring at yourself, your awareness, your gaze is going to start to activate where there's stuck energy. And you might be looking at your eyes, but you might feel something in your stomach, or you might feel something in your leg. You might feel trapped energy start to literally jump because it's starting to move and be released. And so what I've realized now is the beautiful thing about this phase of my life is I'm realizing how I have so many tools that I've been able to gather over the last 5 years that are great for regulating the nervous system, right? So with the mirror work, right? So something so simple to do. Every time like I'll feel a flare up of something, of some emotion or whatever that just needs to be further expressed or further felt, I'll just go in, I'll do 10, 20, 30, sometimes 40 minutes of this mirror work. And then by the time that I'm done, I've gone from a disempowered state to an empowered state, which is so important because how many people act out of their disempowered state thinking like it's outside of themselves or it's out of their control or whatever. But then
Can
once
you break
you,
that down? How you do that? How you go from this disempowered state to
yeah.
an empowered state?
So in this case, all I am doing when I'm doing the mirror work is I am intensive by looking at myself in the mirror and by keeping this one thing that came up was abandonment. Like, and this goes back to how I grew up, but abandonment. And so I allow myself to look at myself and I feel the abandonment in where it's at in my body just by looking at my eyes and different parts of my body. I let the feeling intensify. So the feeling starts to intensify. Like now my nervous system is on overload. It's really firing, but by being able to hold that space for it and be able to sit with it, with this feeling of abandonment, then I start to realize where it comes from. And I start to realize that I was never alone. I start to realize this isn't about my ex, this is more about my mother. If anything, it has nothing to do with my ex. My ex was just a mirror to reflect to me that there's something with your relationship with your mom that you haven't healed yet. So it's just
Freud.
it's such an empowering thing, man. And so, and there's different ways. Like sometimes I'll just do the mirror work. Another time, like I'll journal. Like, but there's something that I feel like is there, but I can't fully express it. I'll start to journal. When you journal, it connects you to your higher self. And so sometimes when you're speaking things, you'll say it one way, but when you journal it, you'll be able to maybe get into your consciousness a little bit more precision, right? So I'll journal things, and then once something comes up, now it's here. Now I can go over to the mirror and do some mirror work. Right? So it's a little bit of a system to regulate my nervous system. And so through doing this, right, the blockages that were there are no longer there. So now I can operate at higher and higher levels of being. So my biggest thing in relationships is never the start of it. It's never the middle of it. It's always when it ends. I just have this, it's always been an attachment thing. So it's not personal to the person. That's been a me thing the whole time. That's always been my thing. Right. And so by also realizing that too, it's okay, this is a pattern and this is something that I now have the ability to address and do it in a really beautiful way. So I think, and then share. And I really feel that this is something that would benefit so many people is learning how to regulate your own nervous system. Because that controls so much. People literally get sick physically because they hold on to things like abandonment or depression or whatever, and they don't know how to move the energy.
Or they're simply just so scared of being angry
Yeah.
that they bottle it up
Yeah,
and they
100%.
suppress that.
100%.
Like, that's something that I see in people constantly. Because I mean, like, from my past, having a very like erratic rage problem, I guess would be the best way to say.
Yeah.
I would fly off the hinges when I really snapped. And thankfully I never hurt anyone in a physical way, but I tore people apart
Mm,
in like verbally.
mm,
And it was through not being able to express that in a healthy way when and where I needed to. And I was around so much anger when I was young, but I wasn't allowed, I wasn't given a space to express it in a healthy way. It would just come out in really unhealthy ways. And I think my own anger and potentially my brothers as well, and us not being able to have a healthy space. I have two brothers, so like my brother just older than me. I think that us not having a healthy way of expressing our anger is what really catalyzed so many of our fights when we were younger,
Mm,
because we fought every single day. And
mm.
again, just verbal. We almost never fought physically. Like we would wrestle sometimes, but that was it. We would never fight in anger. And looking back, kind of wish we had.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I really think that not having a healthy space to express it about the other things that were angering me as a
Yeah.
child meant that we ended up directing most of our anger just at each other
Mm,
all of the time.
mm.
And so it became this super explosive problem constantly. And since I've done a lot of work on it now, and now I know how to recognize my anger, honor my anger, and like for me, like me not flying off the hinges is no longer me bottling it up. It's me recognizing it, seeing it, being okay with
For
it, and
sure.
then asking myself, is this the appropriate time to be angry
Mm,
and express that, or
mm,
does it need to wait?
mm.
And so, like, for instance, today it was, but I also know how to do it without exploding.
For
I know how to
sure.
speak it and be in it.
For sure. That's real,
And
man.
it takes a lot of doing. And that's for any and all emotions, but
Yeah.
all of them can be understood on this level of this is giving me a message. So the message that was giving me is that a standard was not being lived up to, which was being responsible with my dogs,
Yeah, yeah.
plain
Man,
and simple.
you know what's funny, bro, is all of my closest friends before college, like my best friends, I got into a fight with every single one of them. My first best friend, Jonathan. His name was Jonathan. I remember we got into a fight because I was doing a wrestling move on him. I tried to put him in a sharpshooter, and then he got upset and then like swung at me. Then I gave him a super kick to the face, and he got a bloody nose. My best friend, my other friend Torin. I knew him since the second grade. We got into many fights, like just playing video games, blah blah blah, and over playing basketball outside. We get into fights, and then even in our adult years, in our early 20s, when I used to live in Morristown, we got into a fight. And then in high school, one of my brothers, his name is Will, we used to talk shit to each other, and we got into a fight, and like we didn't really want to hurt each other. Like I'm not going to tell the story because it's so funny and embarrassing, but like we were literally friends by the end of the
You're just
day.
going to mention it. You're just going to throw it out there and
Yeah, I
say
mean,
it's funny.
it was
Not,
like, all right, like
I
he
think
swung.
everyone listening hear it.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So Will, he threw a punch at me, right? And at the last second, instead of punching me, because he could have landed, he just opened his hand and slapped me instead. And then me, I'm like throwing lower leg kicks at him. It was just what is happening right now. But like, that's the things like we didn't like each other in that moment, but now we love each other. That's my brother. But my point is that, you know, we got to express it and then like, cool, like, all right, and so that, it's just so funny that all my closest friends, we literally got into fist fights, which is hilarious. And it's funny now because I almost wish I didn't suppress that as an adult. I didn't suppress that part of myself. Not saying I want to be in fights, but like just being able to just get it out, man. And I feel like so many people
Yeah.
just want to get it out. They're walking around with suppressed anger, and it just bubbles and it just stays there and it ferments, and it's not pretty, man. And then when you can express,
That's
and
what I
like
think is
women are
so
great,
beautiful
dude.
about sacred combat.
Dude, women are great at expressing their anger. They'll yell at you 1 minute, maybe they'll hold it against you, I don't know, but then like, yo, like you see them, like they're smiling, like it's like they get it out. And there's more leeway in societal norms for women to be that way and for men to have to hold it in. So that's why there's so many of these men's groups and men's circles and why this is becoming such a thing and doing the work is because we need the space to be able to say these things, express these things, and know it's safe and be able to do it in a way where we're not physically hurting somebody, right? And then now, somebody's in jail. But anyways,
It seems to
that's the
be
point.
that like we've created a really pernicious positive feedback cycle where because men have misused our power for such a long time and
Mm,
abused it for such a long time, physical power being like that like first and primary of abusing people and then like economically and socially setting ourselves up to where we're just what is the term I'm looking for? Not destroying, conquer.
mm,
We're looking to like, conquer anything and everything around us to where we've set up this really unhealthy point of it. And now we've hit this point of like trying to recognize that and reconcile with it. But you have so many emotionally stunted men who have never known how to healthily deal with their emotions because they looked at like a father figure or other men in their lives who are just erratic with anger
Mhm.
and they don't want to be that, and so they don't do anything with it. But then you don't get that out, you don't learn how to express it in a healthy way,
Oh my
you don't
gosh.
actually learn how to be in command of it, so it just boils up. The Sacred Sons, that's what I really respect and love about the Sacred Combat aspect. I was nervous about the Sacred Combat, but also
Mhm.
excited, and it wasn't until I finally did it that I was like, wow, this is incredible. And like the men that I fought right afterwards, it was just such a great connection that we were able to have. And there was no anger towards them in that moment. But this is why I say now that I had fought with my brothers when I was a
Mm,
little younger,
mm.
because we could have had that moment, but we still love each other and we're not trying to kill each other, but just we have that moment to get it out, physically express it, and then sit back and talk with each other. Whereas before we would just yell and scream, not really come to any kind of conclusion, and that would bottle it up more and more and more, rather than actually being able to physically use it.
That's
There was
real.
another stuff at that point that
That's real, man.
has escaped my mind.
I mean, I think it's so important, and you know, I wish I want to just highlight the importance of allowing yourself to break down, to not be at the top of your game, and to like feel what is it you need to feel to access what you need to access. I'm saying like I'm speaking for myself too, because so many times I walk around, I'm my best self, I'm my highest self, but there's something inside of me that wants to come out, that wants to flow out. And we have to express that to live in our highest frequency, which is authenticity. So yeah, man. And so even brings a new feeling around what it means to be in your highest frequency, because when I think of anger, I think of a lower vibration, but it's getting the lower vibration up and out and transmuting it through the process of expressing it, right? And so really there is no bad emotion. There's only misaligned actions, right? So yeah, and so when we can get those things out, then we're able to do more useful things with the energy, and there's less misaligned actions, or, and we can learn to love ourselves on a deeper level and even each other. So I just, and that's the other thing too. Sometimes when people laugh at the men's work, they laugh at the sacred sons or whatever, or don't see the importance of it because they've never gone through it themselves. They've never been in a circle to where they share that thing they've never shared before, and then they break down and they cry because it needed to come out, or they fight and they never knew how to protect or defend themselves in life. And now because they're able to get into the energy of fighting, they're now in a stance where they want to take lead in their life. And so these things are so serious and yet so liberating and also fun. And that's why I love that we had this podcast, because this is the stuff that truly does help to forge relationships, man, and just make life more accepting, more integrated, more acceptable, more communal, all the things. Let's fucking go, bro. Let's fucking go.
There we go. That was great.
Thanks for tuning in to Building Consciousness with Jaguar and Jay, where we explore spiritual concepts and aim to break them down in a practical way for everyday use. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on future content. If you have thoughts or questions, drop a comment below or connect with us on Instagram, jdoss545 and build_with_Jaguar. We love to hear from you. Until next time, stay curious, stay inspired, and remember, we are the authors of our own reality. This is Jaguar and Jay, signing off.